So I have Jonathan Martin Rudek here. And would you like to state the title of your job for me?
Title of my job is Manager of Assessment and Intervention.
Do you want to give us a summary of that?
So basically, the summary of my job is I supervise parole officers within a federal institution. So I currently have 8 parole officers who I directly supervise. I also supervise 3 clerical staff and 1 Aboriginal liaison officer.
So what got you into your job?
I've always been interested in policing, I guess, in one form or another, ever since I was a young boy. I actually always wanted to get into the RCMP. Unfortunately, I'm colorblind. And when I was in university getting my degree, I found out that I could not pass the color vision test. So I was in my final year, actually I think I applied the year prior. It was my final year of my criminology degree, and I applied to corrections, and I ended up getting into federal corrections. Went and then did the training in the summer of 1998, which means I've been doing this for a little while. And yeah, I've been there ever since. I originally started as a correctional officer. I started as a casual correctional officer, and then, which means I was on call, and then they gave me a term contract, and then, which means I had better security, and then finally they gave me an indeterminate job, which actually didn't take that long. It was about 5-6 months. And which means I was a substantive employee of the Correctional Service Canada.
Ooh, fancy.
I know.
Well, how much do you make a year?
How much do I make here? Am I supposed to answer that question?
Yes.
Face
the camera.
I am facing the camera. Okay. I do okay. I make decent money.
How much a year do you make?
How much a year do I make? I make just under $100,000 a year.
Your job, like, what's the fun stuff that you've done?
So fun. Oh gosh. So in my 20 years, because I've been doing this for 20 years.
Oh, so you're gonna retire soon?
In 10 years, I am going to retire.
That's relatively soon. I'll be like 25 by then.
Yes, you will.
I'll probably still be living at home.
Let's hope not. Yeah, no, I've done a variety of different things. So as I said originally, I started as a correctional officer. I was a correctional officer for, I don't know, about 5-6 years. I was also a member of the emergency response team. So when there's incidents at the jail, I would go and respond to those incidents as part of a team, which means if there was a riot or if someone needed to be removed from a cell and it called for what we refer to as physical handling, you would bring in the emergency response team. It didn't always mean that we were physically handling guys. A lot of times they just give up and you show up to the door and big scary guys with all this armor on. Essentially, we have all this equipment, and you talk to the guys and they start cooperating. Meanwhile, they're saying all sorts of nasty things, and then they're holding up their hands and they're turning around and they're backing up to the door, and you handcuff them and you get them out. But there have been a couple occasions where it hasn't gone that way.
Ooh, do you want to go into those stories?
Are
you allowed?
I am allowed. I just can't talk about names because there's privacy issues.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm bound by privacy to not disclose names. I could talk about incidents and themselves in general nature, but it's much like if we get a phone call from a victim or a phone call from even a family member. Let's say you're in jail and your mom calls and she wants information about what's going on within your sentence. I'm not allowed to talk about it. I can't even tell her that you're at my institution because of privacy laws. So, in terms of incidents, he had a guy he barricaded himself inside his cell in a maximum security jail, and what he'd done is torn up his bed sheets and secured it to the door, and made it so, trying to make it so people could not come in.
If it's just a bed sheet, couldn't you just rip that apart with like a knife?
Well, we did have a knife. So what we actually ended up doing is something called a DD-25, which is essentially a stun grenade, just like in like Ghost Recon. There's those stun grenades that people throw out. Well, literally, in real life, there are stun grenades, and we opened up what's referred to as a food slot. We put the stun grenade inside. It goes off. It stuns the guy.
So he wasn't very smart with not covering up the food tray thing.
Well, he'd actually put his mattress up against it.
Oh.
So he actually
So
was.
he thought about
He
it.
did think about it. He had actually put a lot of planning into what he did. We did manage to get the door open because the door opened a little bit, and someone did have a knife. They cut down the bed sheets. Then we were able to get the rest of the door open. I was at that point in time the shield guy, so I was in the front of the line. I had a big shield, and I went into the room and basically had to drop the shield because of all the webbing from the bed sheets, and I essentially tackled the guy, brought him down to the bed, and the rest of our crew did what we needed to do and handcuffed him and brought him to segregation.
So you were the tank of your MMORPG group.
Sure. Yes.
Alrighty, I'm pretty sure that's all, and thank you for letting me interview you.
It was a pleasure. I look forward to doing this again. I think you've got a great future in being an interviewer, and you know what? The camera loves you.
I love you too.